Lance, is there anything that you needed to start with, or should I kick it off?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that if you scan that QR code that you see, we're going to be asking 4 poll questions throughout. You can answer on your mobile, or if you go into the chat, I put the link to the poll in there as well. And then there's another link in the chat for later, which is let you sign up for a gift. So I think that's all I needed, Matt. Or Rob, you can take it away.
Yeah. Cool. Well, first of all, thank you so much for taking an hour to be with us today. I really value this time. Hopefully this is helpful for you as much as it is for us. Also, thank you to a great year. You are some of our key providers and our key partners. And as a key provider to you, that partnership has been successful for us. We're at about 152% of our target this year.
It's a huge year. It's our biggest year ever.
Massive year. So thank you to you, our partners. And as we know, what I've said, Matt, is this is an engineering-led world. The big deals that go down in this channel are usually, if not always, led by engineers. And that's what we built this partner advisory board around. So thank you. Yep. At the end of today's session, we didn't know if we were going to do an event. You guys voted just, probably not an event. Let's just get together. But we've got some Wagyu steaks that you can order. And that'll be at the end with a QR code. Gabby, anything else? Well, this is our 3rd partner advisory board. We polled you beforehand and really appreciate your feedback. So we're going to take that feedback, and those are the items we're going to cover. We'll also see a poll of our next in-person, which will probably be, in the April, May timeline next year. So that will be in person. So with that, I think we're ready to
We got a big announcement right here.
Yeah, big announcement. Justin Rice, to my, I guess, right on the screen, left in person, has just been named our Chief Product and Technology Officer. So congrats, Justin. Yeah. I know you come from a lot of experience in the channel. You've been to Channel Partners, the show, like 3 or 4 years in a row. Even in your old at your old stop.
I was going to give a little history about who you've been with us. You've been with us a while.
Yeah. I've been
with a bunch of parts of our business.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of different parts of our business. Thanks, Rob and Matt. I've been with CBTS for about 10 years. Prior to that, I spent 5 years with another provider in the channel. So I've been around the channel for a long time. But I've done everything from product development, engineering, sales, now leading a team. So it's been a nice, circuitous journey here at CBTS. But the great thing about it, and why I'm excited to be here today, and really just for the advisor, the team on the call, is I really appreciate driving roadmap with the TA community.
Yep.
You all have a finger on the pulse of your customers, and it's just a great connection to have to help drive our roadmap and how we support our clients moving forward.
You say circuitous journey?
Yes.
That's a Scott Maurice level vocab word right there.
It's already started.
I'm impressed by that.
We did send a kind of survey out and ask you guys what are some of the things you thought we should talk about in our portfolio, and this came back from the survey. So we want to talk about some of the services we have now in our brownfield or walk-in takeover managed services. We want to show you some of the expanded cloud managed services and offerings that we have that you might not know about. We want to talk a little bit about professional services and our assessments. We're doing more of that in the channel now. And then in particular at the end, Justin's going to go through some of our roadmap stuff because Justin is now our new lead product officer, if you would. So these were the things you gave to us. We want to go through that. As we go here, stop us for any questions you got. We are going to ask a kind of question, a slide with, what's it called? Slido? Slido, that's it. And you can participate and kind of put that in there. So let's talk first about our walk-in and takeover. And this is really where we've been having a lot of our largest wins in the last couple of years, where we're coming in and going into brownfield environments and providing some custom managed services. It could be as complex as, managing that firewall and all the firewall rule sets and cybersecurity rules. It could be as simple as us coming in and just simply monitoring the edge equipment and being smart hands for replacement. But we've really figured out how to take what was, our long-standing kind of managed services platform and turn that into a ubiquitous kind of custom offering for brownfield or walk-in takeover environments. And you've dealt with a lot of our largest ones. Talk a little bit about the stack and kind of how
Sure.
it came here and what we do with it.
Yeah, so we were very known in the channel for our as-a-service model, right? And that was at the height of everybody going to pay by the drip. Everybody wanted to go to SaaS.
Greenfield
It
stuff.
was, we would come in, we'd replace your switching, we'd replace your edge, your APs with our network as a service or our SD-WAN as a service. And we still, those are wildly important pieces to our catalog. And I'm sure Justin will talk about in roadmap, we're actually expanding those. But there's two drawbacks to that model. For you, the TA, and us as the provider. The first is the time to roll out, right? So if we were doing 1,000 sites, that might be a year-long project. Sure. and revenue hits as it installs. The second drawback to it is it limits the amount of OEMs. So we focus on best of breed, but there's a lot that goes into building a buying model, minimum commitments, processes with that OEM. And so you can't just build network as a service on any OEM you want, right? There's a lot more rigidity to it. With our brownfield, we have engineering resources across, you pick the vendor, right? Cisco, Fortinet, Checkpoint, Palo Alto. And so we're able to come in and onboard a customer to our managed service today with their existing environment, immediate revenue billing impact for us and for you, the TA, as well as be able to, I always say, as long as you don't buy it at Best Buy, we probably can support it in our managed services. And then still set a 2-year, 3-year refresh life cycle if that customer is looking to move to more of the service. And so as we set out to build, what does it mean? In the past, we would manage your network, or we'd manage your backups, or we'd manage your phone system. And that was the product. And we took a step back and said, if we build managed services as the product, if we build a platform, we can plug anything into it and create this great ubiquitous customer experience. And so that's the stack when we talk about what does it take or what are those tools. Obviously, a world-class ITSM tool. We standardize on ServiceNow. Majority of our customers are on ServiceNow, and we actually built something called the CBTS Quick Connector that we licensed to ServiceNow, so it's now just called the Quick Connector. But it allows us to e-bond our environment to the customer so they can continue to work out of their environment and tickets will flow to ours. And we can do that with Jira. We can do it with Sage, any of your cloud-based that have a REST API. The next is, okay, we've got this ticketing platform we're all going to work out of. How do we monitor the environment? What are the things that we might be managing and need to monitor for? And so in the past, we were with Science Logic and their SL1. It's heavy data center-based, downtime to upgrade, great platform, but expensive and heavy. And so we standardize on Logic Monitor. It's lightweight. It's cloud-based, it's an industry leader, and it's really, really good at monitoring whether it's cloud environments, whether it's servers, virtual or physical, whether it's network components. It's lightweight and it's very ubiquitous. But it's not really designed for applications. And so a lot of our customers know at the end of the day, the outcome they're buying is great application performance. And so we layer New Relic in to do application performance monitoring for our customers where that's a need. And then the next piece is, all right, what do you do with all these tickets, right? Well, the first thing is we're layering all of the AI modules possible. So it's event correlation in ServiceNow. It's Edwin AI and Logic Monitor. And so one of the things we talk about it a lot in the SOC world, but not as much with network operations. If I've got an edge firewall that I'm monitoring, and there's 30 other devices behind that edge firewall that I'm monitoring, when a circuit goes down, all 31 are going to alert. Right. We need to know, hey, here's where you need to go look at the edge. And so that's what Edwin AI does, is it looks at the line, it looks at the path, and reduces the amount of noise coming in. And then we've got some 15,000, retail sites that we manage, and we monitor the circuits that go into it. Think about best effort internet circuits between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. There's a lot of pruning, there's a lot of up down where our customers don't really care as long as we're back up for business. And so with ServiceNow, with event correlation, instead of a circuit going up and coming down and going up and coming down, and all of those being tickets, it's correlating. That's one event. We've got one site, one ticket issue. So that allows our tier one folks, if we know exactly where to go look and we're working from the same ticket number, we can be more effective. We then layer in Icera to make those tier 1 folks even better at their job. And so Icera is a large an LLM, large language model, that is looking at previous history of when we monitor and manage a Cisco 8300 router. The past 5 times we've had this issue, this was the root cause. Go and look there. Go and try there first. And we're working on getting that federated with Cisco TAC and other OEMs as well, so we can have their ticket history. Again, making our people better, faster, stronger to respond. Then the next piece is, there's 2 reasons you want to layer in automation. The first and most important is to remove human error. People can make mistakes, they can fat finger something, but also the time to deploy. Like if you've got an 800 site retail customer that we want to make a change to their environment, add a URL, whitelist into my firewall, that takes a long time with 800 sites. And so we then standardize on Red Hat Ansible for network automation, Terraform for infrastructure as code in our cloud environments. And we say, okay, we can now be more effective and remove that human risk to make moves, adds, and changes. And then lastly is inspect what you expect. When we take over for other managed service providers, this happens a lot. TAs come to us and say they don't like their MSP today. Our first question is, well, why? Because maybe we're going to be the same. Maybe they just don't want an MSP. It's not that specific MSP. But where it does start to typically separate ourselves is they don't have any visibility. They don't have access. They're not allowed to co-manage it. They don't even know how they're performing to their SLAs. And that's where we say, if we can bring in this visibility into Power BI, we're working on integrating Microsoft Fabric for Agentic to be able to literally search and say, how many SLA misses did CBTS have in the last year? What was their average answer time last month?
All about transparency and visibility.
Having customers be able to understand and see the value of a managed service provider. And so our theory, 18 months ago, as we kind of fully launched this productization of platformization, has been you can now go and plug into that, whether I'm managing infrastructure in your data center or Azure or AWS, or DRAS, which is built on Zerto for us, managed SOC, which is built on Microsoft and Palo Alto, our WebEx calling or Microsoft Teams voice platforms that we talk about, our SASE built on Palo Alto, network as a service on Cisco and Juniper. We can start to plug in any of these product sets. I can manage your network, I can manage your backups, I can manage your cloud.
Whether you bought the equipment from us or not.
Whether you bought it from us or not, and you have this uniform experience. And what we typically see is one of these starts as an entry point. We start by delivering a managed voice solution with WebEx calling because the customers, had to get off of what's the one that just killed their support? NEC? Is that what it was? In the US anyway, right? And then it continues to grow over time. So these are a path forward to be able to take over existing, alleviate the customer pain point, but get to revenue faster and not feel like it's a bunch of different purpose-built solutions.
In the interest of time, because we only got an hour here, so that's great. The idea here for everybody here is that we now have this platform that when you've got customers who have unique managed service needs, they own the equipment, that we need somebody to build a custom, unique managed service, we can bring that here. So that's been really the big message, and it's been some of our biggest wins here in the last 18 months. So think about that for a minute. We want to get your feedback, but think about, if you would, pull it up here and kind of give us some thoughts of, if you were in our situation, what you might add or subtract or highlight, because we've been seeing a lot of big wins. Does this apply for you? We'd love to get some thoughts here real quick.
And you can, if you also want to jump
just
off
to talk
mute,
it out, go
you
for
can
it.
talk it out as well.
We definitely run into some of those opportunities, and we brought you guys some in the past. So I love to hear that you're leaning into it. I mean,
we're leaning in real heavy on it, Ben. Absolutely. Yep.
The link is also in the chat if you need it as well. The first link for today's poll questions, it's there.
Any other thoughts or observations about what you guys are seeing in the channel of the need for this kind of brownfield, walk-in, takeover, custom management?
We see this when cause we typically have really good SLT alignment. And when we do, and they're fearful of either attrition, or they've got a single resource that they're concerned about leveraging, putting all their eggs in one basket. We also typically see it when there's PE activity. So either they are acquiring someone or they have acquired a company and they're turning it into a platform company, and they're like, we really can't afford to have just a single resource from the old company doing things the old way. We actually need someone to help us remove barriers to growth. That's when we see value in this sort of walk-in, takeover type of an offering. Other than that, I think the capability to do so really speaks well to more of the traditional managed services clients that are approaching managed hosting or managed services or an MSP in a sane way, like, hey, we want to make this migration over the next year. But their concern is, can you do it in a timely fashion? And so the ability to walk in and take over from what we call day zero, as opposed to day one being some arbitrary amount of time from contract signature, instills a lot of confidence. So that's quite beneficial.
It's been very successful. As I mentioned, it could be a complicated managed service. It could be something simple as us just monitoring a device and reporting on it. Those are the things that we can build.
We see a lot too when people are, maybe the leadership team wants to make a move from a technology standpoint, but their existing staff maybe doesn't have capability. I had a CTO tell me one time, I'm tired of making the technology decisions based on the people I have, and I'm tired of hiring people based on the technology that I have, because he knows he's going to turn over that technology in 4 years to the new latest, whiz bang thing. And so that ability to come in and kind of be that stable, I can take on what you support today or what you have today, and as you migrate, we'll go down that journey with you.
Yep, absolutely.
I think Scott nailed it with private equity and others coming into different markets and what they want out of the business, and have a usual, 3 to 5 year business cycle in mind to be able to profit from it, to be able to come in. And this gets into a question. Do you guys have some sort of I don't want to say an assessment, but kind of a business outcome assessment to the level where, if you were to look at the platform from a risk perspective and move it that direction, is that somewhat of a productization, or, you know what I mean? It's what I've done now, and a couple of MSPs out there have this, where they look at licensing, they look at they look at technology, they look at a lot of different avenues, and really you're in that SLT meeting and you're sitting there and saying, here's, the positives and negatives from going to a platform as a service, right? And either outsourcing it or keeping some human element, whatever. We've gotten a few deeper discussions into larger enterprises with that open-ended assessment.
Point. Yeah, we certainly do. From what I would say is probably a little more pointed. So like a great network assessment to help you understand what is your end of life and to support network environment, or an application assessment.
This is holistic, John. I would love to read that, and I totally agree. Network, that's an easy way to optimize and bring dollars back to the purse, right? To be able to afford, going in the future. If you can kind of step it back and say, I want all of it, from human to IT to platform.
That's a great point.
Yeah, we do it very piecemealed, like buy these 10 different
totally agree.
Yeah, if we did it as one.
Yeah, noted. Well, yeah, we should. Thanks for the feedback. Like, those are ideas that I think are great that we should consider. So yes, thank you.
That's kind of why we get everybody together, right? Because Ben and Scott bring huge value, but I was blown away now on a couple of our MSPs being able to do it from that perspective. And when you get into it, you're like, well, the eventual conversation is, could you do that? Or what would your strategy be to do it? And it just gets right into it, especially private equity, but also a new CIO, a new CTO, a new CFO, whatever.
Do those MSPs charge for that, or is that free?
Yep, they charge.
They charge for it. And typically,
that's a lot of time.
What size company was that? Typically, is that companies typically over 500 employees, under 500, 200?
Oh yeah, no, well over.
Okay, interesting.
3,000, 5,000 global.
Okay,
stuff like that.
Cool.
Multiple different licensing schemas. Yeah.
All right. We want to get in the cloud portfolio. In particular, you might not be aware, or if you are, how deep we go on the cloud side. We've got great expertise around Amazon, AWS, around Microsoft, around VMware. Our ability to help folks manage and deliver those environments. We're getting more and more into AI that you're going to hear about later on today, here in kind of some of the roadmap stuff and things that we're already doing. But in particular, we've been preaching over the last, call it 9 months or so in the channel, about how TAs now can monetize Microsoft. When you went back 3 or 4 years ago, Microsoft's in that room, TAs aren't making any money on that. And now we're able to literally commission on anything to do with that Microsoft solution, whether we're delivering licensing, professional services, management, et cetera. And we're kind of seeing our customers look at Microsoft in 4 different ways and how we might help them monetize it. One is anything to do with the collaboration side, right? The voice and collaboration, the team side. The other is cloud and licensing. They've got to buy some licensing for something to do with their desktop or in the cloud in Azure. What are they going to do with Microsoft on the security side as that continues to expand? And then what's going on the Microsoft side with AI and Copilot? And so for this now, we can come in literally, we are a CSP. We're what's called the
Tier 1 direct.
Tier 1 direct CSP. So we've got the ability to come in and deliver licensing, to share that commission. We deliver a 24-hour SLA, 40-hour SLA, and anything to do with
24-hour SLA. So if you have a customer with Microsoft Premier support, that comes with no SLA, and their average engagement time is 48 hours. Ours is cheaper than Microsoft Premier support, and it comes with a 24-hour SLA. So that can be a great path in just simply asking the customer, what are you paying for Microsoft Premier support, and do you feel like you're getting value out of it?
Yep. And as an example of that, then, we have this great deep knowledge on helping customers on the Microsoft side, particularly in cloud. So talk a little bit about some of the engagements you've had here in cloud side, kind of where we've entered, where that's ended up, those kinds of things.
Yeah, so Microsoft used to be in an EA model. They still offer it really upmarket, but a lot they're kind of kicking out, call it 6,000 and down, and saying
the 2,500 to 6,000, right? It used to be you could buy at a 2,500 level. Now they're taking to 6,000. So this whole group of companies the next year are going to have to go to a CSP.
And the big difference there, even before that, customers were, after their EA expired, were moving to CSP. Simply the cost, EA was cheaper per seat, but it was so rigid. Think about your organization between the now and the next 3 to 5 years. Are you going to grow? Are you going to shrink? What if you grow and then shrink? Or what if you and we found that with CSP, it gives us an opportunity every 12 months to redo the licensing. And so customers were actually saving money in a CSP model by being able to optimize once a year rather than being locked into that EA. Now they're getting out of the EA, so they're going to have to go to a CSP, which there's Tier 1 direct, which is us, and then there's a Tier 2, which is a reseller under a CSP. So we're driving a ton of cost savings in this. One, as the CSP, we replace Microsoft Premier support, which drives cost savings. We're also, there's been technology changes, whether it's adding Azure Arc licensing, which is more of a spin up, spin down versus a commit. There's new technologies. Nobody would go to a data center and just leave it for 10 years in a colo, right? You refresh the hardware, you change and optimize the design, the backplane, et cetera. And we're really helping organizations from a cloud standpoint take advantage. So landing zones really came out in 21, kind of became more popular 22 to 23. There are a lot of customers that are built incorrectly. And for them, doing FinOps was, are you tagging? Do you have the right governance in place? And now FinOps is really in a stage of, could we architect this better? Could we drive cost savings? And
so use the right SKUs. Yep.
We've built something called Cloud Rapid Deploy. We can do it on both. Actually, we do it on GCP as well, but our expertise is much more in AWS and Azure, where what used to take 90 days, we can deploy a brand new optimized environment in 5 days or less. And so we're doing a ton of engagements right now with enterprise customers that are $1 million, $2 million, $3 million projects that save them $300,000 a month, day one. And so it's a really great sales opportunity, because when you go in and talk to your customers and say, if you could go to the cloud, if you weren't in the cloud today and you could go tomorrow, knowing what you know now, would you do it the same way? You are never going to get a customer that says, yes, I feel like we went there the right way. It's perfect and it's optimized. And so when you talk about an investment that pays for itself in 6 to 12 months, we're doing some really big, fun, crazy cloud PS work, and it's benefiting us, our TA, and the end customer.
And sometimes the entry point is literally just licensing.
Just having
Talk about that DISA example. A couple thousand location company, we come in just selling $40,000 worth of 365 licensing, and where it went from there.
Yeah, so this was simply, I'm on an EA, it's up for renewal. Should I renew my EA with Microsoft? Should I do a CSP?
This was the only thing we were being called in for. Yep.
And we explained exactly what I just said. Well, in an EA, you're locked in for 3 to 5 years. With CSP, we can optimize it. We can right size it every 12 months. And that cost savings alone, they said, all right, CSP model. And then we said, well, now that you're tagging us as your CSP, what about running your Azure spend through us? We did an assessment of their Azure environment and said, oh, hold on. you can save a ton here. And that was really driven by Azure Arc licensing was the main driver there. So that was another $70,000 a month in Azure spend.
Paying commission on both those.
Pay commission on them. And then they said, well, you guys really know your stuff on Microsoft. Could you actually redo our Azure tenant? Because we're going through a bunch of M&A right now. So we built a new Azure environment utilizing landing zones they didn't have and saved them a ton more money. And then they said, well, what if you guys manage that environment for us since you guys built it and you're experts on it? And we said, we'd love to. And then they said, we just bought a company and they're heavy in AWS. Do you guys happen to know AWS? I said, yeah, we do. And so now we've done in 25, well over $1 million in PS projects.
And 15%.
Paying it 15% to the channel. And I think what's the monthly spend up to now? 450,000 a month right now. So and managing both AWS and Azure, as well as providing the CSP licensing on both.
So I think we just throw it out there that we can be a partner for you guys and your TAs. If they've got any kind of a Microsoft challenge, we've got the expertise to come in on the tip of the spear one direction and be able to expand that and go into a number of different areas. So let me stop right here because we've got to talk about some cloud backup real quick. But talk to us, you guys out there, what you're seeing as far as Microsoft being a way to come in and build more managed service relationships. Are you guys seeing the same thing, or what's your take out there on the Microsoft side?
Yeah, I'd say 100%. So it's a pretty typical motion for us to do a cloud assessment if they're in Azure and AWS. So we'll hit the FinOps part, we'll hit the misconfiguration issues, we'll hit the security issues, and we'll hit the DevOps issues, right? Which immediately gives them the idea that, hey, we grew this environment in a not so great way, right? Yep. And then so there's one of two choices out there: a pro serve to clean it up one time, or a managed service kind of combination to clean it up, keep it cleaned up. And that's typically where we'll push people. In that, we'll capture the consumption spend. And if it's on Azure, it's a very easy discussion to say, hey, what are you doing for your M365? Now, the M365 discussion is a lot better if you're able to assess optimization there as well, right? So do you guys have the ability to go in to the M365 tenant and identify underutilized subscriptions, licensing that hasn't been used in 30, 60, 90 days, that kind of stuff as well?
Yep, as long as we have access to the tenant. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we're doing the same thing there, right? So you got the same story now, and you capture that spend. That's an easy 1, 2, 3 punch, right? So you've got 2 billings that you're taking over and adding a managed service on top. It's like candy to a baby.
And we'll talk about on the next slide, the next logical question when we do that M365 review is, how are you backing up? And people go, oh my, what do you mean? I went to M365. Why would I need to be the one to back it up? Because nobody's backing it up. And so this has been a huge success for us. So we deliver backup as a service. I mentioned this earlier in our managed service slide. We're built on Commvault is our backup as a service. And there's a couple of unique things of how we offer it. One of it, we put a backup appliance on site. Same with when we do DR on Zerto. So this is a CBTS appliance that we provide, we manage, we monitor. And what we're doing is we're storing, 30 days to be able to back up quicker, faster locally. And then after 30 days, then we're targeting, and it can be AWS, Azure, GCP, or customers we can target our CBTS data center. So there's reasons I can restore faster out of my data center, but it's cheaper to do it out of, say, an AWS, put it into a Glacier bucket, that sort of thing. But we do have support for Metallic with Commvault, so when things need to be air gapped. And then we are running M365 as well as G Suite. So for those customers, we're seeing more and more Google start to make a play in the G Suite, and instead of M365, we can back that up as well. And that to me is always an aha conversation. When we go, what are you doing for backup with your M365? Everyone's like, I assume Microsoft did that for me. I mean, it's scary the amount of M365 data, 50 gig per mailbox, not backed up anywhere.
Yeah, we're about to do the same with different SaaS platforms too. So there's a whole SaaS connector that we're implementing, and that'll go live here early Q1.
Yeah, there's this I threw it in the cloud. Why do I need to? Why do I need to back it up? I was curious. through that cloud journey we just were talking about, another thing that we're starting to see is maybe it's repatriation of workloads as we build out the AI data center, but if not there, we're starting to certainly see the multi-cloud strategy be Azure and then maybe Azure local in the data center, as opposed to I got to be in all three hyperscalers. Curious from the advisory board, what are you seeing with your clients in terms of things moving from the cloud back into customer data center?
That's a great question.
Yeah, there is an amount of flow there for sure. I just call it in, from third-party cloud or from hyperscaler cloud into cloud private, right? So
yeah,
it can be any hypervisor, any managed private cloud scenario, but yes, we are seeing that for sure.
Definitely a trend, and the understanding of what Microsoft local is, I don't think is out there as well as it should be.
I completely agree, Stan. I go nerd fanboy on this, but yeah, this Azure local and then Hyper-V 25, and like coming in and building and architecting this entire platform that can be the benefit of cloud with the cost savings of cloud when it's needed, when something's elastic, versus building something on-prem with 25, and then when people go, oh well, I don't think Hyper-V is enterprise ready, and then you explain to them that Azure runs on Hyper-V 25. So yep. Yeah, to Matt's point, anything Microsoft, get us involved. We're doing a ton of these projects where people say, I went to AWS and GCP and Azure, and then the first time I had a failure in one, I realized those workloads don't magically just spin up natively on another cloud, or like, what was it, a month ago where 2 days apart there was an AWS and a Microsoft outage, and then AI. And one of the things that we're starting to see is, today you use AI, and it's mainly I use an LLM, I use a GPT. I use it, I spike up, I spike back down. When we get into the world of agentic AI, where that resource is literally pegged 24 hours a day, you don't want that in the cloud.
It's going to be local compute.
Right. The cloud's meant for this, not this. And agentic AI is going to move us into that.
I think we kind of talked.
All right,
go ahead, Scott. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, quick question about that, John, just because a lot of people just lump that together. And what we're learning as we deal with AI implementations is that there's the AI application, right? Which, if we're going to use the public nomenclature, there's the Chat GPT application.
Yeah.
And then there's the GPT LLM, which is on the backside, which is the inference engine, right?
Yeah.
And so most of the things that they're concerned with, especially when you get into agentic AI, the agent itself is not part of the LLM. The agent uses an LLM.
Correct.
Right? So in the example you just described, where, hey, I want data sovereignty, and I want that agentic AI is now executing a workload that is pegged 24/7, or is that some sustained rate? Generally, that's on the agent side, not on the inference engine side. So how do you rationalize? Like, are we rationalizing in the world of AI? And maybe this is getting into the weeds, but are we rationalizing moving both the application or the agent and the inference engine private,
Yes.
or are we talking about a split hybrid
oftentimes,
deployment?
absolutely.
Yes, but let's put a pin in that, because I think Justin's got a big AI section, right?
Yeah, but to answer Scott's questions, people would take that agent workload and put it on their premise, let's say, or their data center. They're typically taking that LLM and bringing it along with them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Which is a much bigger lift.
It is.
I
Absolutely.
mean, it's
Like, that's a huge lift.
40 to 80 terabits. I mean, it's not onerous.
But the reality is, like, to his point, like the cloud, and let's use like Azure Factory with the OpenAI connector. Like right now, that's a pretty much that is a very well encapsulated solution that it's very self-contained. Whereas if you put that on the prem, now you have to build your LLM, your train inferencing, you have to put the agents in the containers. Like that compute, the overhead, the operational overhead to stand that up is a bigger lift to start. Now, people like NVIDIA are making blueprints to make that stuff easy. But I mean, Azure and AWS, to their credit, have made it very easy, which is why we're seeing a lot of like pilots start in the cloud and then move to production on-prem. In like OT environments is a great example where fully agentic processes are happening.
Well, while we're here, talk about our abilities to do agent app dev. They may not know we have those abilities.
We're having a tremendous amount of success right now in doing a lot of generative AI development for our customers, doing a lot of agent creations for our customers to outsource workflows, to basically have that be Right now, the agents aren't fully agentic yet, most time in production, but we're right there at the cusp of that, and we're having a lot of success in doing so.
Yeah, those are the things. One of the things I hope you guys take away from today is that we are fully engaged in building an AI portfolio, already doing a lot of that work today. Yeah. Your customers who are looking at Microsoft tools around that set, AWS tools, we've got the expertise to help.
We just passed our 200th opportunity in the last 90 days.
That's great.
And as you talk to your customers about it, if you haven't been yet, one of the things when you get into those conversations, it's all boats rise, right? Like you can't do an agentic AI without getting into the security conversation or the app dev conversation or the cloud conversation.
And or so, the data readiness conversation.
Right, which then gets you into the infrastructure. Is your network ready for AI? Do you have AI ready pods? What are you doing from a GPU versus CPU? And as you have those conversations, it will drag everything else through with it versus the old days of, I mean, we all made a lot of money on, hey, MPLS moved to SD-WAN. We can save you money and give you a better experience. Yep. So it was a great 2017 those were the days, but it was a self-contained, right? Like nobody was like, oh, since you're replacing my MPLS router with SD-WAN, here's the keys to my Microsoft Azure tenant. Yep. When you get into these AI conversations, it brings everything with it.
Yep.
Is there a brand name for your
John,
AI?
Because I've got two of those opportunities right now that we should talk about.
One, absolutely, Scott, please. And Stan, yes, he asked if there was a name for our AI.
Yeah, so we have an AI framework that we call CBTS Forge. And I'm going to cover that here in a few minutes. But yeah, CBTS Forge, which is all encompassing of all that, call it AI lifecycle that we do for our customers.
And we're going to talk about that in a couple slides here. So great question. Yep. Okay, professional services. So again, we all got in the channel. We're selling managed services. When we first came in, we're selling VeloCloud. We're selling Cisco. These were canned greenfield environments. CBTS has, got what? How many employees we got now?
2,500 and another 1,500 contractors. So just past 4,000. Yep.
So we have all this expertise, all this professional services, the work that we've been doing on our side, kind of the Fortune 2000 side, but we haven't exposed our professional services as much to the channel. And so we started talking about a year ago now in the channel that, listen, if you think that you need some help doing a network assessment, a security assessment, an AI, risk fabric assessment, these kinds of things, if you think you need that help to further a relationship, in your customer, let us help you. And we're now paying 15 points on that. And so our professional services in particular is something that we've really expanded on. So again, John, talk about some of the things you've seen in professional services and where we've helped people.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago, Justin and I we were with Cisco leadership and G2 Patel is their chief product officer. And just in 26 alone, just in Cisco, there's a $32 billion opportunity on end of support equipment that's out in the field, right? So you talk about network assessments a little bit earlier. Helping customers understand just that inventory of what is going end of support and helping create a roadmap. So you've got that network assessment of current state. You've got the recommendation of future state architecture. Then you've got the sale of it, or maybe as a service of it, then the configuration and implementation, and then hopefully ongoing management. And so for us, inspect what you expect. If we can come in and do an assessment of your cloud environment, is it cost optimized? Is it built the right way? What workloads should be in the cloud? What should come back on-prem? We've seen, even if it's something as simple as domain services. Across the board, we've seen it really be the tip of the spear for us to go into an account. We want the 3-year, 5-year managed service deal. We want the 100,000, right?
Sure.
When you walk into a customer and say, hey, you guys have never heard of CBTS, you want to make a 36-month commitment for $100,000 a month to them? I know you're all very, very good at your job, but they're still like, who are they? Versus going into a customer and being like, hey, what's that one itch, right? So we've got a $15 billion company in Chicago that's bringing us in to do a small F5 project. And that's it. And because I asked that question, give us one thing, small, risk-free. If we fail, you never talk to us again. And they're like, yeah, that's fair. And so these can be great ways in. We're paying 15% in the channel. And I mentioned, with these, so that's over $1 million that we did in PS projects in just 25. We had another one, big network rollout, $900,000. And that was another channel-led deal. And I was doing a Meraki rollout for them across the country.
We weren't selling any equipment. It was just the rollout.
Just the rollout.
Yep.
And so this is a great way why we should care. It is a risk-free path in. It's typically the tip of the spear. And if we do it correctly, a network assessment to help you understand where you're at today leads to a resale of the new solution, leads to an implementation and management of the new solution. So if we follow that linear path of helping a customer along the way, Pro Services is simply the tip of the spear that it solves an immediate need. It also helps, we get this a ton. I've got budget I've got to use, whether I'm on fiscal year or if I've got a different fiscal year from calendar year. Right now we have customers that are saying, hey, can we book this deal today? Because I've got money I've got to spend and you'll do the work next year. Or you got pen testing. Hey, I've got to do 2 pen tests a year. They've got to be from different vendors. It's really helping customers solve that challenge. But for you, the TAs, it gives you the ability, again, risk-free, take a chance on that. We know this provider gets an MSA in place, gets new customer forms onboarded, and then shows them what we're able to deliver. And typically, we, on average, find 3 new opportunities out of every PS engagement.
Let's talk pen tests, because I know a lot of TAs are very familiar with that. We've gotten rave reviews for ours. Talk about why ours are a little different.
The first difference is we use a red team. These are white hat hackers that go in. So we're not using, Horizon AI. We're not running some tool and it coming back and going, okay, if this port was open or this port wasn't. It is typically, 40 hours. It can be 80 depending on the size of the environment, but our typical is about 40 hours of work, and then an engineer done by an engineer. Obviously they use tools, and then that engineer comes back and will present findings. What are compensating controls you can put in place? What should you be doing differently? Here are recommendations on where to go from here. And then also we can go through the full stack. So it's not just network penetration testing, web application penetration testing, API gateway penetration testing.
We also do AI.
Our new AI threat canvas just launched officially 2 weeks ago, but we've kind of been circulating a little bit of buzz about it. But coming in and doing pen testing of their AI environments and their LLMs, that has our ability to go through that full stack of pen testing versus I got to do this every 6 months. Here's a check for 20 grand. You guys run a tool against it, and we get some report that's not actionable. Ours is truly a consulting engagement.
Yeah. So in the interest of time here, again, I want to stop. Give me your guys' feedback. It doesn't have to be on Slido here. What have you guys seen different in the last couple of years about using professional services to open up opportunities, to get deep with customers? Is that something you're seeing
or
as
any
well?
type of assessments?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have, and there's others too as well, from PS leading to managed services, whether it's, cybersecurity, like you were laying out. It's definitely the gateway drug to lead to MSP world. So the PS stuff that we're going through a little bit with you guys on some opportunities, security, infrastructure. Now we get into that machine learning with Databricks, Foundry. You guys are coming in strong in that. So keep it up. This is a big market, and more and more enterprise customers, you need to prove value through a PS.
You mentioned compliance assessment. Scott did right here as well. That's something that we do as well.
Yeah. So whether it's CMMC, NIST framework, we have consulting CISOs, virtual CISOs that's majority of what they do is these sort of assessments around complying to a specific framework or governance.
Yep. All right. Now we want to get this last part here. Justin, kind of talk about what's happening here with our roadmap and what we're doing in particular, around some of the new ideas.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll set the stage here, and then we'll get right into the AI stuff in the interest of time. So as we, I've taken on this role, and part of our vision is going to be, whenever you think of CBTS, you think of an AI native services organization focused on mid-market enterprise. So all that ICP customer profile that you know us for, we're still going to service that mid-market, lower end, upper end enterprise, right? But we strive to be AI native in everything that we do. Now, you should know that our right now as an organization, we are like, this year will be about 1.4 billion in top line revenue, half of which comes from product resale, the other half comes from services, whether that be PS or managed services. What you're going to see 3 years from now or 5 years from now is 70 to 80% of our revenue gets generated from services. That is our North Star as a business. That is where we are going. every offer that we have will have some sort of defined AI value story. I commissioned a survey when I first took this role. It's been 2 months now. When I took this role, I did a survey, and I wanted to really look and see how are we at CBTS utilizing AI either today with our customers or internally. And I was like shocked to see that we have AI in our SOC, we have AI in our NOC, we have AI doing CCAS chatbots for our customers.
Like, and our business intelligence.
Business intelligence. We're leveraging AI in so many impactful ways that just wasn't being captured. So everything moving forward will have some sort of defined AI value story. We'll have a more standardized product portfolio, and ideally we're going to be recognized as a thought leader across all of our go-to-market pillars. Some of those go-to-market pillars John covered earlier in the product portfolio. But really what that means, those 5 are network and cloud, security and SOC, digital workplace and CX, data, AI, and automation is going to be huge for us. I'm going to talk about CBTS Forge here in just a moment and really define that for you. And then really there's this cross-cutting layer of that platform and operating model that's going to be key to everything that we do. So John and Matt showed earlier that managed services platform. That platformization of how we go to market to support you and your customers is going to be key across everything that we do moving forward. So Matt, hit the next slide. I think that's going to get to, okay, CBTS Forge. So one thing, when we commissioned this AI survey internally, one thing that we recognized was, wow, we have a lot of good stuff happening, but we really need to put some work in defining what it is CBTS does with AI. So when Bill Franklin goes out and talks to his customers, he knows how to represent CBTS and our AI message across everything that we do. And really, we put that into, you're familiar with our 5 pillars story. Very similarly, we put our AI offerings into 5 different pillars. Over on the left is what we're doing with AI consulting. It's literally sitting down with our customers and running strategy workshops to develop their use cases on how AI may be useful and beneficial to their business. So we have a lot of opportunities happening right now in that space. But the next, and probably where we're seeing the most adoption so far, is that data readiness pillar, which is my data ready for AI? Is it secure? Do I have the right pipelines in place? Is my data modernized? We have a lot of, in the last 90 days, that's probably 120 of the 200 opportunities that we've had is just in that data readiness pillar.
And again, that's not just an assessment of readiness. That's also work doing the whole ETL structure, the extraction, the transformation, the loading. We've got expertise in helping them not only design that strategy, but then actually do that work, getting that data ready.
Absolutely. Whether that's Fabric is the data backbone, Snowflake is the data backbone. Absolutely. We're doing that entire ETL process. And then we're getting into generative AI development, which just says, hey, we developed the use case, your data is ready to go. Help me deploy that. And where you're going to start to see that transition is more agentic development as well. So generative AI is pulling a lot of the opportunity right now, but that will be more agentic probably in the next 12 months. And then AI infrastructure, which is something that's so interesting for us and really core to what we do. Compute, network, storage, security, that is in our DNA, right? That is what we do for our customers day in and day out. We have a right to win in the AI infrastructure space, whether that's Cisco AI pods, whether that's HPE native systems, whether that's in the cloud. We're building that AI-ready infrastructure for our customers. And then, as John had mentioned earlier, the AI native security, AI for security for AI and AI for security is becoming paramount to everything that we do. So,
you mentioned agentic AI. One of the big things in AI security now is an AI firewall that's sitting around your agent.
It is.
And Palo Alto is a big one. And what's the Cisco name for that?
Threat Factory.
Yeah. And so that's another
defense, sorry.
Yeah, that's another area where people are going to see is when they're building these agentic AI solutions, there is now a new software firewall that needs to sit between your agent and everything it talks to, user, LLM, databases, et cetera.
Absolutely right. So to that point, with CBTS Forge, that's going to be core to everything that we do, security. Now, what you've expected from CBTS in the past is a very clear engagement model. Whether that's assessing an environment, designing, deploying, or managing that long term, very clear expectations for you to set with your customers that when you engage CBTS, this is what you get. We're basically copy-paste that same type of playbook in how we engage with AI, which is a 4-tier model. You start with your advisory in your workshops, right? Establishing that foundation to give a deliverable. Here you go, Mr. or Mrs. Customer. Here's your roadmap. Here's your ROI framework. Here's your use case pipeline that you can now prioritize to execute in your business, right? That's where you start. Then you move to data and infrastructure readiness. Is my data ready to go? Is my infrastructure ready to go? And the deliverable for that is, yes, it is. Tier 3 then goes to deployment. Let's, what we've developed, the roadmap, your data is ready. Let's go ahead and deploy that. And at the end of the day, let's secure it. Let's scale it. It's a 4-tier engagement model. Now, with that said, just like everything else you get from CBTS, we will meet the customer where they are. We've gotten into situations where customers are like, you know what? I have like 3 or 4 use cases that I know I want to develop. Can you take those CBTS and make sure my data is ready to go? We'll just engage there. That's fine. Sometimes they say our data is ready. We have the use cases. Can you help me deploy that CBTS? The answer is yes. So again, the holy grail for us is we manage that entire life cycle for our customers, but it doesn't have to be. We can meet the customer where they are.
So that said, we're all trying to figure out how to do more with AI, monetize AI, bring new products. You guys have got all sorts of providers doing that in the channel. Talk to us a little bit about whether this messaging resonates, what you'd like to see different, what you think you're seeing in the channel. We'd any input here, because we're building brand new offerings every week.
Every week, and we're taking all of the input. Like if we take this, listen, input is important across everything that we do, but this is so fresh right now that we are modifying that roadmap literally on like a bi-weekly basis. So please, your support
any ideas, any thoughts about this?
Here.
This is really good. I'm kind of curious on the data readiness portion of it. That seems to be a lot more involved than just one factor or one quarter of a cycle, right? And you said that some people are ready, some people aren't. I would venture to say that most aren't. So can you talk a little bit more about the data readiness process?
Yeah, you're right. Most aren't. We go through most aren't, you're right. Is a multi-phase process that falls within that data readiness, and we have some collateral that support it, which is do an assessment of the data that you have, understand the infrastructure in which the data supports. There's a modernization profile that we run for our customers. There's some additional collateral that our data team has put together. We'll share that with you after this.
Well, then it also depends what the customer's trying to do, right? If the customer's building some kind of a machine learning AI, not necessarily agentic, the requirements to pull that data together might be different than somebody building agentic AI that's sitting on top of a bunch of unstructured data. Then there's additional transformation work about vectorizing that information, making that available, deciding where that data. So there's a lot of consulting too about that. So it depends on the nature of what the business is trying to solve about how deep and wide you might be going on that data side.
Yep.
Scott said, I need to be able to showcase the expertise to CBS and a lot of these new developments. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was thinking like case studies, are good, where you've gone in and you've gone into a company that really had no idea what the viable use cases might be, and you help them define that. Like that's powerful to see. And then, sometimes the discussion is very nascent. Like sometimes they're just trying to get a wrapper around governance. Yep. And battle the shadow AI that they know is going on, but they have no control over, which is not a huge opportunity, but it's sometimes the start of an opportunity. I don't know if you guys kind of play down in that lower end or not, but that's an easy discussion. That's an easy discussion.
Well, I think the answer to that is any company over 500 knowledge workers and above, if you think there's a part that CBTS could help, we'd love to come in.
Yeah.
Our relationship's going to expand with you, and it's going to expand with the customer.
Well, and the reality is we had to go through that internally, like all cards on the table, right? Like whenever we took this role, we brought our AI council together, it was the very same thing. It was like, geez, we have shadow IT, we have people developing their own use cases, we have tool sprawl everywhere. Like, how do we build a governing body? So we went through basically that 4-step process internally and realized, okay, well, this works. Let's try this now externally. So, but to your question, we do have a few different use cases already that we can share with you as well.
Perfect.
That methodology specifically of how you tease that out is really valuable, because most clients, this is new for everyone, right? So everyone that's going down this road has never done it before. So they're looking for experts that are like, you know what, I get it. This is brand new. We've at least done it a few times and we've had some success. And here's the methodology that we employed. And that's a clear differentiator. If you've already done that and gone through that and had success with it, that's a huge leg up for people that are trying to do it for the first time. And or have attempted it and have failed.
Yeah.
That's good.
And David,
feedback.
you bring up a great point too. You better be aware of the organization and what you're talking about and what those workload, workflow, culture changes are going to happen with that AI.
Yep.
All right, well, we're kind of at the end of time here. What did we miss? Anything you guys have, everybody here's known us quite some time. You got any other suggestions about, hey, CBTS, you're missing that. We'd like to see more of this. You're screwing that up. Anything at all?
I would just say as a general note, we just need you to drive more. Because the clients are, especially the clients that we engage with, they are not capable of driving. That's why they're engaging us. And when they get into the project, they're like, there's the default stance of the consultant is always in deference to the client. When the client doesn't know what the heck they're doing, we need a little more aggressive thought leadership. And so we've run into that a couple of times with not just CBTS, with a number of engagements where the client is finally coming back to us going, we don't know what we don't know, and we kind of need them to tell us.
Yeah, sure.
Gotcha. That's great feedback, Scott.
Yeah, I always encourage my team to be agnostic but have an opinion, right? Like,
Right.
we so
Smart bias.
you're right.
Yeah.
If we want to, based on what we understand here is, no, you could do A, B, or C. I would do A. But if money is the most important thing, B is also.
Yeah.
So it's a great point, Scott, and hopefully we're living those
QR.
out.
Yep. So you'll see. Thank you,
everybody.
Again, you'll see on the screen a QR code. Please snap that for some awesome Wagyu steaks. I really appreciate your time. We want to make these efficient. The team was saying, should this be 2 hours, 2.5 hours? No. Let's be sensitive to everybody's time. Let's poll the group beforehand and figure out what are the topics that they want to have covered.
Yep.
And hopefully I know we've definitely gotten a lot out of this session. I've taken a whole bunch of notes. I know you were too, Justin.
Yep.
Extremely valuable. Hopefully this is valuable for you. Sounds like we may have even uncorked a couple of opportunities. So with that, thank you.
Yep,
and if
absolutely.
I don't talk to you, have a great holiday. And if I do talk to you, I'll be talking to you.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
See
We
ya.
really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Cheers. Have a nice holiday.